The Dolphins host the Chargers. The winner, of course, is the host for the AFC Championship game next Sunday against Buffalo. San Diego's remarkable season has them a win from the title game after starting the year 0-4. The Dolphins are slight favorites today, but they're banged up.
Many people are talking about the fact that San Diego might be playing the best football of anybody in the National Football League. Very exciting. They're playing with an awful lot of confidence despite they're on the road today. Earlier, I had a chance to catch up with Stan Humphries, and here's what he said about what a difference a year makes.
It's exciting. It's exciting to be in this late in the year. There's only a few teams still playing, and we're one of them. And we just got to go out there and keep the same game plan we've had through all this whole stretch, and we'll see what happens.
As far as the Dolphins are concerned, there's a lot of questions surrounding this team despite winning their last 3 games. One is at running back, where Mark Hicks will not play today. They'll ask Bobby Humphries to go all the way. Now, Bobby has been mainly a third down back. I caught up with Dan Marino about 2 hours ago and asked him how would that affect their offensive game plan.
You know, we're not going to change much. The thing that we can do with him is just throwing the ball a little more out of our base offense, which we didn't do a lot with Mark Higgs because he isn't the same type receiver that Bobby is. But and we're going to pretty much stay the same and do the same things we've been doing all year.
Now, if Bobby Humphries get tired, they have to go to second-year back Aaron Craver. Now, Aaron has just come off injured reserve. He's only carried the ball 3 times all year. He has no receptions. To me, the key man to watch is Marco Coleman. He missed the last game of the year. He has an ankle problem. He's a defensive end. If he can't play today, it's going to be a long day for the Dolphins.
Now, one of the interesting subplots today is Dolphins coach Don Shula going against his former defensive coordinator Bill Arnsparger, who now holds the same position with the Chargers. Arnsparger was with Shula for the perfect season in '72, coaching the no-name defense of the early '70s and later the Killer Bees of the '80s.
I think we both know a little bit about each other from having spent so much time together. And Bill certainly knows my thoughts and the way that I operate. But by the same token, I've been around Bill a lot, and I know how he thinks and how he operates.
You know, in those reports, one thing that wasn't mentioned, it's not week to week, it's the whole season now. John Offerdahl gone for Miami. Outstanding linebacker. They've missed him for more than half a season, and his absence has really been felt. But let's follow up on what Trumpy and Enberg said. The Dolphins are the favorites, but everybody thinks San Diego is going to win the game.
Which makes you say, why are the Dolphins favorite? This game is going to get right down to, from talking to the coaches I've talked to this week, can they pass protect for Dan Marino?
San Diego came in winners of 12 of their last 13. Miami came in 5-5 in their last 10 games. But you know what? Playoffs have a strange way of sometimes changing momentum. It was a hard rain was going to fall, babe, at JRS. And Reggie Roby couldn't handle the early snap, but the veteran that he is just gets it away. John Kidd couldn't handle the snap. Rather than getting it away, he figured, I'm in Miami, why don't we look like Garrow? And he got nailed. Mark Clayton, they try the end around, the reverse. But no, it's a fumble, but then he's not Garrow either. He can't quite get the foot on the ball, but it goes out of bounds accidentally. Marion Butts. No, he's dropped by Marco Coleman, the rookie who's fired up. San Diego goes to the air. Stan Humphries picked off by the other #1 draft pick of the Dolphins, Troy Vincent. Rookies, big time, Joe.
Troy Vincent has got Anthony Miller covered, man-to-man all the way, fronts him up, turns around, anticipates the ball, makes the pick.
So, after the interception, Miami and San Diego territory. The shotgun is Marino, 3rd and 7. The dump screen to the left side of Bobby Humphrey. Turns to the 40. Turns to the 30. Carries tacklers inside the 25.
Yeah, case of Dan Marino throwing behind the blitzing Junior Seau, who just misses the ball. Had a tremendous game, but missed the ball right here.
Then Marino, the zip to Mark Super Duper for 12 yards. And second and goal at the 1. Wide open play action to Tony Page, 7-0. Miami. Next possession for the Lightning Bolts. Humphries to Ronnie Harmon, but he can't handle the ball. 3rd and 8, Humphries to Nate Lewis. It's through his hands, and oh, what a pick by Troy Vincent. Bobby Ross can't believe his bad luck. Marino in business again in San Diego territory. 1st and goal. The lob. Oh, it's Keith Jackson. The 10-yard touchdown, and Miami leads at 14-0.
Yeah, you watch Keith Jackson here, lined up as the tight end on the left, runs what we call a shooting up, runs out to the flat, and you watch the defender there, Floyd, just can't get the footing to make that turn with him. That's an easy catch for Keith.
Miami defense now can tee off on Stan Humphries. Did they ever cross and company? Humphreys on the rollout, looking for Sean Jefferson. But instead, the youngster, the Pro Bowl linebacker, Brian Cox, Tommy, makes the play.
From the snap, Cox here has his head on a swivel, looking at the quarterback, back to the receiver, and then going and stepping in front and finding the football.
Stan Humphreys has been a hot quarterback, but playing catch-up football, he was in trouble with 3 picks, 9 of 21 in the first half. And that's not good numbers when you play this man, Dan Marino. 2nd and 10. Marino goes deep, the post, to Keith Jackson. He dives. It's a touchdown. 30 yards, 21-0, Joe.
When Keith Jackson moved up out of the slot, you see him third man in. Everybody's pointing. Who do I have? Look at the communication in the secondary. Who's got who? You take him. No, there goes Keith Jackson. Who's got him? Where is he? Oh, no! There he is. There's the ball. We're in trouble.
Oh, Nelly. 21-0. And you remember the 3 picks by Humphreys? 3 touchdown passes from the picks by Marino. Brian Cox on the blitz, nails Stan Humphreys, who of course is playing hurt with the separated left shoulder. Then it's 31-0 and Lewis Oliver, he does the Oliver twist. Please, sir, I want some more. He gives the fans more. The Chargers, there'll be better days for them. And for Don Shula and Dan Marino, 1 more win and their first Super Bowl trip in 8 years. For Alex Spanos and Bobby Beathard, the rain in front of their faces tells it all. It's hard to win 12 of your last 13 and keep that going. You're only human. And today, the Dolphins proved so. Shula over Arnsparger and company, 31-0. And today, at least for one day, for Boltergeist, it was there.
Anticipation running high, the capacity crowd almost fully in place at Joe Robbie Stadium. First ever AFC championship game in this relatively new park. They played a Super Bowl here once before. That was the one where Montana led the late drive and the 49ers overtook Cincinnati. Don Shula has been to 6 Super Bowls, 5 with the Dolphins, 1 with Baltimore. His 23rd year as the head coach of the Miami Dolphins. Hasn't been to the big show since the '84 Dolphins lost to San Francisco. That was the year Marino threw the 48 touchdown passes.
I believe that Frank Reich should be the quarterback. Frank Reich cannot come off the bench and play well. If you start Reich and you still have Kelly back there, now you have something you can go to. But I don't think if something happens to Kelly, that Reich can get back in and pick it up, because he did not take hardly any of the snaps during the course of the week, Robert.
All right, let's send it around the horn, beginning with OJ's quick take. Kelly or Reich, Juice?
I totally disagree with our buddy up there, Tanning. I think Kelly's a starter. He was healthy. He practiced all week. He should be the guy out there. Reich did get more snaps than he would normally get during the regular season. He did take 20% of the snaps. If he has to come in, I expect him to do a good job. Kelly should be the starter. Todd, what do you think?
Well, OJ, it's a corporate decision. Who's the guy you're paying $4 million to? Who's the guy that's led you to the last 2 Super Bowls? I think the decision is a no-brainer. But I want to say something here about Frank Reich. 2 playoff victories, greatest comeback in the history of the NFL. He demurred all week to Jim Kelly, talking about their friendship. And in this day and age of self-promoters, of guys with double backflips and all this sort of thing, I'd have to say that Frank Reich might not get much for style points, but as far as the substance, he's a 10.
All right, Todd, something worth mentioning. 2 years ago, when the Bills made their first trip to the Super Bowl, Kelly got injured in a game at New York, the game where Phil Simms was also hurt. And he didn't play the last 2 games of the regular season. Reich came in. They had a bye before they went into the playoffs, so there was a 4-week stretch. He had hurt the knee, a similar injury, not the same knee, but a similar injury. He played well against the Dolphins. He threw 3 touchdown passes. Marv Levy, no doubt aware of that. But the difference, the rest here is 3 weeks and not 4. And last time, although Reich filled in, he wasn't on fire like he is this time. Reich has thrown 6 touchdown passes in his last 6 quarters. Kelly finished the year with 5 TD throws in his last 7 games.
But like you said 3 years ago, when Kelly came back, he played great. And the Buffalo coaches told me on the field before the game, he looks the same as he did 3 years ago. Their feeling is, after playing such a long season and throwing so many footballs, veteran quarterbacks, their arms start to wear down. When he came back 3 years ago, they said he threw the ball better than before he got hurt. This week, they say he's throwing it better than before he got hurt. John, how do you feel about it? Does your arm wear down as the season goes along?
There's no question that it wears down, especially when you're as old as Jim is, 33 years old, that as the season goes on, it wears down. And quarterbacks quarterback's arms like a marathoner's legs, and the fact that they wear down. So I think that this 3 weeks off is going to actually help Jim, and he'll be throwing the ball sharp today.
All right, now, one other item concerning the Bills. The AFC Championship has been in Buffalo the last 2 years. It might have been at Rich Stadium today, but for the Bills' loss at Houston on the final Sunday of the regular season. This is a live shot of Rich Stadium. They've had several inches of snow in the last few days, but the Bills decided to stay in the colder climate all week rather than train here in the warmth of South Florida.
In recent years, the Buffalo Bills have been the spirit and the power of the AFC, and the Bills made it look easy. Always enjoying home field advantage, they devastated the Raiders 2 years ago, a 51-3 waltz into the Super Bowl. Last season, Buffalo's high-powered no-huddle offense crushed Kansas City in the playoffs. Again, happy at home, the Bills faithful helped carry Buffalo to a second consecutive Super Bowl. But there are no cheers today at Rich Stadium. Home field advantage this season crumbled at the Houston Astrodome. In the season finale, the Oilers denied Buffalo the AFC East title, leaving Marv Levy's troops wondering and without their all-pro quarterback. The Oilers' rampage continued in a wild-card rematch. When Bubba McDowell returned Frank Reich's second-half pass for a touchdown, Houston had a 32-point lead with only 28 minutes to play. Then spurred by a frenzied Rich Stadium crowd and their new hero, Frank Reich, Buffalo would register the greatest comeback in NFL history. Last week, ignoring the adversity of Pittsburgh's unfriendly crowd, plus injuries to key players, an impressive Bills win encouraged those who believe in Buffalo's championship fate. Riding the magic arm of Dan Marino, Miami returns to the AFC title game. It's been a year of acquisition for Coach Don Shula. On offense, running back Bobby Humphrey from the Denver Broncos and former Eagles tight end Keith Jackson have added scoring punch. Miami's much improved defense keyed by rookies Marco Coleman, last week's star Troy Vincent, and 24-year-old leading tackler Brian Cox. Oh, Don Shula and Dan Marino appreciate their home field opportunity today. But will Jim Kelly's return spark the Bills' seeming predestined trip to another Super Bowl? One will be AFC champion.
Joe Robbie Stadium packed to see if the Dolphins would make the big step. Jim Kelly instead of Frank Reich. You know it's Dan Marino for Miami. First possession for the Dolphins. Marino steps up, zips to Tony Martin, but he gets stripped by the football by Nate Odoms, who makes the recovery, the turnovers, and Buffalo is in business at the 25-yard line. Next play, Kelly. No, but it's J.B. Brown who be a pain for Jim Kelly, stepping in front of Andre Reed for the pick, and he brings it out to the 35-yard line. Joe?
J.B. drawing a beeline on Jim Kelly's eyeballs. When you watch this, he's looking all the way into the backfield. Ball's a little bit underthrown, knew he had it all the way.
Don Shula's offense was not very sharp today. It certainly made the Chargers pay last week, but despite the time, Marino, Mark Clayton can't come down with it at the 8-yard line. Looked like he would have had 6 had he held onto the ball. Needs those isotoner gloves. Another missed opportunity later. Tony Martin! No, he can't pull in Marino's bomb. Walt Torres defense. Last 2.5 games, been a different story. Bruce Smith first beat Sims. Sacks Marino. It's a and the veteran Darryl Talley falls on it, Tommy.
You see the quickness here of Bruce Smith. He lines up inside over Keith Sims, gives him the good outside move, gets by him, and applies the heat. Talley with a nice recovery of the fumble.
So Bruce Smith and Darryl Talley involved. You knew who's coming next, number 97. From the outside, Cornelius Bennett steps up, makes the sack of Marino. Second quarter, Phil Lookman, no Hansen, the tip and the interception.
This is great individual effort by Hansen here. He gets up in the line of sight of Marino, bats the ball in the air, and look at the concentration as he pulls it in for an INT.
The Pro Bowler on special teams, Steve, a Tasker, blocks the punt by Reggie Roby. So again, the Bills, the story of the first half, great field position, Joe.
The block is great, but watch the move he puts on Cox. See the little fake, how he dips the shoulder and then lays out? This man knows exactly what he's doing. Knows he has it blocked, gets up, gives the safe signal.
More problems for the Dolphins. After a field goal, the kickoff, Aaron Craver boots it about 20 yards. A great play by Craver allowed him to recover the football, but still not careful with the ball. Marv Levy's offense well crafted today. Short passes to both Thurman Thomas and Kenneth Davis. The screen from Kelly to Thermal. House Ballard with a big block, 19-yard pickup. If it wasn't to Thermal, it was to KD, Kenneth Davis. The little flare to Davis, good for 13 yards and a first down. 2 plays later, Kelly to Thomas. Jim Richer and company with the block. It's a touchdown. Buffalo leads it 10-3.
A couple of things happened during this screen pass. The first thing we're going to see here is Reed go in motion, take his guy out of the area. Then once you get the screen, you want to form a triangle around the receiver, the ball carrier. That means somebody has to come up from the outside. Brian Cox can't get past the 2 blockers, allows Thurman to get outside. Then you get the great downfield block by Lofton on the goal line to allow him to get in.
At this stage, it's 13-3 for Marv Levy. And Jim Kelly, who says his knee was bothering him, the rollout. Andre Reed, it's a touchdown, but holding on the play. They miss a field goal. Don Shula's squad lucky to be this close. Shula nervous as Kelly looking for BB, but once or twice, Jim will overthrow and Louis Oliver makes the pick. 13-3, Bills at the half. Could have been 27-3. Second half kickoff. And the Dolphins think they're in business. But ex-Miami Dolphin Mike Williams hits the hole, and Mark Pike strips him of the football. Carwell Gardner from
Louisville
recovers for the Buffalo Bills. Bills try to take advantage. Up the middle, Thurman Thomas, but it's about Marco Polo. Marco Coleman makes the hit, but then loses the ball, and Don Beebe recovers.
This is a good job here of Louis Oliver stripping the ball. Coleman makes the nice pickup for a defensive lineman. Trying to make too much happen, though. Tries to get up and run with the football, fumbles it. Bills recovery should have just stayed on it.
Well, it really cost him, Tom, because just 3 plays later, Kenneth Davis watched the burst of speed. Zip at the 3-yard line into the end zone. It's 20-3, Buffalo. For Thomas and Davis, wow. $166 for Thermal, $113 for KD. That's almost 300 yards combined. As for Steve Christie, the young man from outside of Toronto, Canada, he didn't hit 1, 2, 3, 4. He hit 5 field goals. Lightning striking again and again and again. Ties a postseason record held by Matt Barr and Chuck Nelson. Marino tries a drive from the shotgun. Buffalo laying back in coverage. Your basic prevent D. There's the big play they were looking for from Tony Martin, 34 yards. Then, Nelly. Keith Jackson down inside the 12. But then Marino looks to Bobby Humphrey. Clifford Hicks in his hot licks. Another turnover forced by the Buffalo Bills defense. And he returns it up near midfield. For Dan Marino, 22 of 45, under 50%. Hey, only one team has gone to 3 straight Super Bowls before these Bills. The Dolphins of Shula in 71, 72, 73. It was no question today at Joe Robbie Stadium. The Cards are wild in the AFC. The Bills are moving to the Super Bowl, beating the Dolphins 29-10. Jim Kelly, very careful with the ball except for the one overthrow. And afterwards, after the controversy, was this maybe his best win ever?
This is probably, without a doubt, the sweetest victory I've ever been associated with because, like I said, it's almost like at the beginning of the week I should apologize for everybody for feeling good. And then I said to myself, hey, just do what you're capable of doing. Don't try to do it all yourself. And without a doubt, this is one. It's one sweet victory, and this one is going to go down in my mind forever.
I think the key to today is that we went into this ball game wanting to contain Dan Marino. We wanted to make sure that he didn't have the opportunity to step up in the pocket. Marino is a pure pocket passer. He likes to step up into the pocket to avoid the rush. So I think the fact that we were able to keep him from stepping up, that had a great impact on the game.
I talked about that being the key to the game coming in, that you can't turn the ball over against Buffalo. When we beat them in Buffalo, they turned the ball over to us a lot. You know, that's the reason why we won. And today, the reason why they won is because, you know, we were giving them the ball on our side of the field all day.
There was no rattling at the beginning of the game. This team just made mistakes and the fumbles and things started rolling against you. Football's a game of momentum, peaks and valleys, and what happened was we fell down in the valley and never could get out of it.
Yeah, 5 turnovers, one of the differences today, but also Buffalo defense held the entire Dolphin team to 276 yards. Thermal and Kenneth Davis alone, 279 yards, when 2 beat 47. That's not good.
And so the Buffalo Bills, by the count of 29-10, are moving back to the Super Bowl. They know what's going to face them there, Joe. You know, and Tommy, we talked on game day that maybe, just maybe, Jim Kelly watched Frank Reich win these couple of games. Saw him maybe not go as deep as much, but the short passing game, you said, I don't think so. After the game, maybe he did pick something up.
I think he did, and he pointed it out. He said he was a little bit more patient. He decided that he would allow other people to get involved in it, and that's exactly what he did. Take a look at the pass chart. The 3 times he tried to go over 15 yards and deep, he wound up with 3 incompletions, 2 of them for interceptions. Take a look at the completions under 15 yards. That's a total of 13 for 17, only 15 yards down the field, and you can see 4 for 4 from behind the line of scrimmage. Jim Kelly exhibited great patience today, Tommy.
Yeah, we also talked a lot this morning about the matchup with Bruce Smith and Richmond Webb and how he would have to dominate. Now, the Bills moved Bruce Smith around quite a bit, but he did dominate at the line of scrimmage. You look there at the 7.5 sacks, the 1.5 sacks and the 7 tackles that he got. He was dominant wherever they put him on the field. And then we talked about the 125 yards rushing that we'd have to get from Thurman Thomas and Kenneth Davis. At the moment that they got that, the score was 20-3. So domination by the offensive line of the Bills.
Now also, you take a look at the other fact, 17 passes to running backs today. 17 of them, 10 completions. This one being one of their featured moves all day. Little screen pass. Jimmy goes back in the pocket, just dumps it off to Thermal, as Christopher has anointed him, and he runs down and picks it up. Now that was a big part of the entire offense all day, was the fact that these 2 guys could just take those little swing passes, 10 for 17, 116 yards, just to the little guys out of the backfield.
Well, I mean, when are people going to give a little credit also? He was warm today, Thermal was, down in Miami. When are they going to give credit to Marv Levy and this coaching staff? The adjustment Walt Corey's defense made since halftime at Houston. I mean, Marv Levy's team has played with maturity now. Not sure whether these Bills could have gone wild card route, win a title game on the road, come from behind 32 points a couple of years ago. These Bills look different than other Bills. It's been rougher for them this year, but maybe that's what they need. So the Bills are back. And if you look at the 3 AFC title games the last 3 years, boy, this is a game that they own. Today they beat the Dolphins, of course, 29-10, giving up 1 touchdown. Last year they beat the Denver Broncos 10-7, giving up 1 touchdown. You had to be an idiot to think that the Raiders were going to beat them in 1990. That was 51-3. Obviously, 2 touchdowns in the 3 games, 90-20 in the AFC title game. But now it's the Super Bowl that they want. That's been a different story.
Marv Levy looking for his 3rd straight Super Bowl appearance. First quarter, watching Dan Marino back to pass, completes to Freddie Banks. Nate Odoms not only with the tackle, but the fumble recovery. Next play, Jim Kelly. A little rusty, perhaps. This was just a plain bad pass. J.B. Brown picks him off. Bruce Smith says hello to Dan Marino. Darryl Talley recovers. That was 4 plays later. That set up a Steve Christie field goal. Tied at 3 in the second. Levy says, let's go to the Thermometer. And Thurman Thomas on the screen. They ran this all afternoon, and Miami could not solve it. Down the sidelines for 17 yards, 10-3 Bills. On the ensuing kickoff, Aaron Craver, the second-year pro out of Fresno State. Looks like he could have played for the Giants last year. Greg Beatty recovers, though. On the next play, Marino's pass batted down and intercepted by Phil Hansen, set up another Christie field goal. Don Shula, his Dolphins, trailing 13-3 at halftime. Opening kickoff, second half, Mike Williams hit by Mark Pike, fumbles. Carwell Gardner recovers, and Don Shula can't believe it. On his home turf, a slight underdog, and watching Thomas cough it up. Marco Coleman recovers. He fumbles. Don Beebe then jumps on it. The Bills keep the football. 3 plays later, Buffalo turns to the backup running back. They lose nothing when they go to Kenneth Davis. Bounces outside, 20-3 Bills. Then it became the Steve Christie show. A year ago, he was kicking for the Buccaneers. Today, he was kicking for a team going to the Super Bowl. 21-yard field goal, 23-3 Bills. 31 yards out, nothing but net. 26-3. 38 yards, good. 29-10. Christie, 5 field goals, tying the postseason record held by Chuck Nelson in 1987, Matt Barr in 1990. The Dolphins, it's over. Andre Reed, Marv Levy, and the rest of the Bills headed back to the Super Bowl. The last time a team did that, 3 years in a row, the Dolphins. The Bills win it.
Buffalo 29, Miami 10, and down to the Dolphin locker room where Dan Marino is standing by with Todd.
Thanks a lot, Bob. Dan, a little bit of frustration today. It's been a while since I've seen you get that beat up.
Well, you know, I think everybody gave a good effort. We just, you know, gave the game away. You know, when you turn the ball over like we did early, giving them the ball, you know, inside our 30-yard line a couple times. They're a good football team, and they can, you know, they control the line of scrimmage on both sides. And when that happens, you know, it's going to be tough to win.
Well, there had to be some frustration on your part, though. The protection broke down a number of times.
Our offensive line, I mean, it's, you know, they're going to get theirs because they got some great players too. They're going to make plays, but you know, we have to make our plays, and we have the opportunity. We had some, and we didn't make them. And when that happens, it's like I said, it's tough to win. But you know, everybody gave a big effort. It's just too many turnovers, Todd.
A number of times you've talked about, particularly over this last week, that when you have this window of opportunity, you have to take advantage of it. Is there a great deal of frustration right now as you're standing here thinking that you got this close?
Well, there is frustration because we're playing at home, you know, our home park, and you think you'd have an advantage doing that, and we didn't really challenge at all.
As tried as it sounds, nonetheless, congratulations on a great season. I know you'll be back.
Thank you, Todd.
Okay. Bob?
Todd, turnovers really the whole story of the 3 games between the teams this year. When Miami won at Buffalo, all the interceptions, Lewis Oliver bringing one back for a touchdown. Miami had the lead in that Monday night game later in the season here, and 2 turnovers in the 3rd quarter helped to turn it Buffalo's way. And then Marino told you about the troubles Miami had coughing the ball up today as the Bills head for Pasadena and the Super Bowl, where they will face either the Cowboys or the 49ers in Super Bowl 27.